Remember when Britney Spears dropped that bombshell saying that she got a procedure done because Justin Timberlake wasn't ready to be a father? Well, we actually got the book. We're going to read that excerpt. And man, wow, the details are crazy. Let's take a look. What's up, y'all? It's your boy Pascal back at it again with another pop-up video. Be sure to follow me on all my social medias, The Pascal Show. One word, hit that like button down below. And let's not forget to crush that subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. And if you're watching on Facebook, please be sure to crush that follow button on my Facebook page if this is your first time checking out this channel right here. Anyway, we got to jump into this story. As we've talked about before, Britney Spears talked about doing a procedure, getting a procedure done. If you get what I'm saying, we got to use these code words, unfortunately, because Justin Timberlake didn't want to be a daddy. He wasn't ready to be a dad and all that. And again, they were very, very young and all that, not taking anybody's sides or anything of that sort. But still, there's information here that's pretty wild and heartbreaking, to say the least. Now, I do have the book, okay? I recommend you guys go check it out. If you are a fan of Britney Spears, I wouldn't say I'm a fan of Britney Spears, but her life and the conservatorship and all that, it is very intriguing, okay? And so I wanted to check it out for myself just to see what was really going on behind the scenes and if there's anything else that we can learn about the BS that she went through, guys. I mean, the book is pretty telling. It's a very easy read, and it's depressing, y'all. It's really, really sad. I'm not going to lie. She went through some really, really bad things just from this book, from what she says in this book. But there's one part in this book, like I said, we were going to do a little bedtime story time. There's a segment in this book, in the very, very early on in the book, where she talks about the procedure and her getting it done. And what's crazy is that in the book, she talks about her not going to a hospital, that it all got done in her home because she didn't want people to know. She didn't want her parents to know. No one knew except her friend and Justin. And that's it. She went through this whole procedure at home by herself. So we're going to read the segment, an excerpt from the book, the part in which she talks about this procedure. And what I'm going to say here really quick before we jump into everything, I will be using code words just so that you guys know. But if you really want the full thing, please, by all means, go buy the book, go buy the audio book. It's definitely worth the read. Okay. But let's take a look at this. And she, of course, gets into this and she talks about how she loves Justin and all that. And then this surprise, this pregnancy happens, right? So let's get into that piece really quick. At one point when we were dating, I became pregnant with Justin's baby. It was a surprise, but for me, it wasn't a tragedy. I love Justin so much. I always expected us to have a family one day. This would just be much earlier than I'd anticipated. Besides, what was done was done. But Justin definitely wasn't happy about the pregnancy. He said we weren't ready to have a baby in our lives, that we were way too young. I could understand. I mean, I kind of understood. If he didn't want to become a father, I didn't feel like I had much of a choice. I wouldn't want to push him into something that he didn't want. Our relationship was too important to me. And so I'm sure people will hate me for this, but I agreed not to have the baby. The quote unquote procedure was something I never could have imagined choosing for myself, but given the circumstances, that was what we did. I don't know if it was the right decision. If it had been left up to me alone, I never would have done it. And yet Justin was so sure he didn't want to be a father. We also decided on something that, in retrospect, wound up being, in my view, wrong. And that was that I should not go to a doctor or to a hospital to have the procedure done. It was important that no one found out about the pregnancy or the procedure, which meant doing everything at home. Now, really quick, I just need to take a break from this. Really quick. Pretty insane stuff that we've already heard so far. And heartbreaking, to say the least. She was ready. She was more than happy to birth this child, all that stuff. Justin was not down for it. And then what's even more insane is that she did basically all of this under the radar. No one knew about this whole thing, except for Justin and her close friend, her best friend. That's it. She did this all solo dolo. Do you realize how dangerous that can be, especially when you don't have a professional or a hospital looking over you during this time? That I've heard stories. It's not an easy ride. Let's just say this. It's a very painful experience. And she did this. She did this in the privacy of her own home. Let's not forget, technology and the way things are nowadays is completely different from what it was in the early 2000s. So, wow, guys, this is insane. But let's continue on. She talks about the pain and everything else as well. And of course, what Justin does in the meantime while she's going through hell. Okay, let's take a look at that. We didn't even tell my family. The only person who knew besides Justin and me was Felicia, who was always on hand to help me. I was told it might hurt a little bit, but you'll be fine. On the appointed day, with only Felicia and Justin there, I took the little pills. Soon, I started having excruciating cramps and went into the bathroom and stayed there for hours, lying on the floor, sobbing and screaming. They should have numbed me with something, I thought. I wanted some kind of anesthesia. I wanted to go to the doctor. I was so scared. I lay there wondering if I was going to die. When I tell you it was painful, I can't begin to describe it. The pain was unbelievable. I went down on the ground on my knees, holding the toilet. For a long time, I couldn't move. To this day, it's one of the most agonizing things I have ever experienced in my life. Still, they didn't take me to the hospital. Justin came to the bathroom and lay on the floor with me. At some point, he thought maybe music would help, so he got his guitar and he laid there with me, strumming it. I kept crying and sobbing until it was all over. It took hours, and I don't remember how it ended, but I do, 20 years later, remember the pain of it and the fear. After all of that, I was messed up for a while, especially because I still did love Justin so much. It was insane how much I loved him. And for me, it was unfortunate. I should have seen the breakup coming, but I didn't. Listen, guys, and this is just a tip. This is just the tip of the iceberg of this whole memoir. And I mean, to think that this procedure that she took was that painful. I mean, of course, I know people have done the procedure before, and we've heard stories of how painful it really is. And it's heart-wrenching to think that if she had another choice without the push from Justin, she may have had the baby. She may have happily had the baby. She seemed like she was down for it, and it's definitely seemed like out of character for her. But if you notice, as soon as she got with Kevin Federline or K-Fed, she started pumping out babies like crazy. She was back to back almost, right? So I don't know. She even said in the book, let me pull that up one more time. She even said near the end of the chapter how it messed her up for a while. And I'm wondering if it still messes her up, if she's still messed up from that situation. I'm not sitting here saying that that's the straw that broke the camel's back, but things start to add up. I know how terrible that experience can be, not only physically, but mentally as well, for people who choose that procedure. So maybe there is a little bit of leftover pain and regret from that as well. It's hard. It's hard to hear that story. It's hard to hear this piece. But I did want to share this with you guys because I got another story time for you guys here in the very near future. There's more stuff in this book that we definitely need to talk about aside from the faux shears. Okay, there's a lot more in this book, especially the conservatorship and all that. So we are going to be talking about that here in the next video later on, maybe tomorrow or later on this week. I do appreciate her coming out and being honest and real in this book. I heard that there was like the 40 to 60 pages that were ripped out of the book before it went into publication. So I'm wondering what those 40 to 60 pages are, right? I'm wondering what those pages actually entail as well. I'm sure they were bombshell after bombshell as well. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyway, guys, comment down below. Let me know what you think. If you're liking these story times, definitely hit that like button down below. And of course, hit that number one in the comment section. That would really mean a lot, because I'd love to see how many people are really appreciating these bedtime story pieces. Okay. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button on my Facebook page. And I'll be seeing you guys very soon. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. And I'll see you guys very soon. This is the Pascal Show. Bye.
Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild.